What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Gsluke here with our round 3 prize picks targets for the Rocket Mortgage Classic, as well as round 2 at the LIV Golf Invitational in Bedminster. 2 events to go through, 2 golf courses to break down for you. Going to give you not only my thoughts on how I expect each course to play, but also my top props that I'll be adding to my slips here for Saturday slates. And it's not just one slate, got to put the S on that there. And really looking forward to it because we have a plethora of options. So not only do we have both events, we also have greens and also fairways in regulation available there for the PGA Tour side, which is a really welcome sight to see. We hadn't seen it for the last few weeks. Some of it was shot link based. I'm not sure what it was for Thursday and Friday, but we get a full board this time around. So really looking forward to that, and of course, a lot of options to go through. So first things first, let's talk on the PGA Tour side. So the golf course is up on the screen. You can see today played right around a shot under par. In fact, 0.92 shots under par, which was way harder than I expected, and a lot of that was not weather-based, but rather a lot due to pin locations. The field staff went out there, tried to make it a little bit more difficult. They didn't make as many gimme pin locations, but here for Saturday Showdown, what we usually see, we call it moving day here on the PGA Tour, is you'll see a lot of bold pin locations and really risk reward type of setups, where if you go for it and you succeed in getting it on the green, you're going to get rewarded handsomely, whereas when you miss, a lot of times you're short-sighted. You're left with a downslope, an extremely difficult recovery shot. That's what moving day is all about, that risk reward aspect. And I would definitely expect this Rocket Mortgage setup to resemble that. So expect to see some low scores tomorrow. Also expect to see a few ejections. We're used to seeing that on tour. And of course on Sunday, expect to see even more of that with some of the Sunday nerves. And also obviously coming down the stretch here with just 2 events left in the PGA Tour schedule, a lot of people thinking about the playoffs. In terms of the weather, it is a lot more favorable tomorrow. So you'll see just 5 to 6 miles an hour of sustained winds. And in terms of wind gusts, pretty much non-existent, just a little bit of a breath of air there right around 11 a.m. Somebody turned on the fan there for about an hour and a half. But outside of that, pretty much nothing to speak of from the weather perspective. And these players, I'd expect to be able to go out there and really take it apart, right? Not only do you have relatively benign conditions to begin with, you're also dealing with a golf course that also doesn't have much wind. Still dealing with a little bit of that COVID there, so sorry about the cough there. Doing my best to not sound too scratchy here, to still give you guys content that sounds relatively well produced. Let's go ahead and hop through these. So first prop I want to touch on, it's going to be a fairway in regulation, where I'm taking the over on Siwoo Kim at 9 fairways. Now the average percentage last year in terms of fairways was 72%, and to this point it's right around 71%, which means that most players are going to hit well over 9 fairways. So somebody like Siwoo Kim, who's well above average on tour to begin with, hits 65% of fairways, we'd expect to probably hit more than the 70%, right? Maybe closer to 73, 74% where I haven't projected, which is a lot closer to 10 fairways than it is 9. So there's obviously a lot of push potential there with the 9 fairways, which makes it an even more attractive prop. But more importantly, he's in contention, clearly hitting the ball well, has more than enough ability to get to the 10, 11 fairway mark where he needs to get. There's large fairways out there. They're not running that firm and fast at this point. Now, could get a little bit worse throughout the weekend, and he does have an afternoon tee time, so that isn't ideal. But like I mentioned, you're getting an elite level accuracy guy, maybe not elite, but still well above average in terms of his driving accuracy at the bottom of the board, right? 9 fairways. Whereas guys like Tony Finau that can struggle with the accuracy from time to time, certainly Cam Young is, not horrible with the driving accuracy, but he is certainly not above average. We're up there at 10 fairways, right? And while there is a little bit of, it's the interest in going to fading those players, I'm even more attracted to go into somebody like Siwoo Kim, who should be projected among those guys and who's just mispriced right down there at 9 fairways. So that is somebody I'm taking the over on, trying to take advantage of the extra categories that we're getting at our disposal. Going over to birdie or better, I'm going to be taking the over on Jason Day. So he's there at 4.5 birdies. Yesterday, I should say today, believe it or not, here for round 2, I faded Jason Day. I took the under at 4.5 birdies. Now, the circumstances are flipped. He was in the PM wave. He was getting a lot of attention, made a bunch of birdies there in round 1, and I was worried about the flat stick. And today, oh boy, did that come to fruition. I mean, he Just had birdie look after birdie look. I mean, I believe he had at least 13 putts of less than 25 feet for birdie and only ended up making one on the day. So certainly could have been a lot better round for Jason Day than it was. And for somebody that was sweating the other side of that prop, I really got to see all of the opportunities that he had, right? I was watching a shot tracker the entire time as he went out there and was having that performance. So somebody who's historically one of the better putters on tour, I have projected for over 5 birdies. In fact, closer to 5.2 birdies, which, obviously to get to 5 would end up being a hit for us. But it's not like I project him for like 4.7, 4.8, where it's just a marginal difference. We're hoping that he hits the over rather than the under. I have him comfortably projected for over 4.5. So somebody I like. He's got that morning tee time, a 10:30 a.m. You can see right there, he'll be teeing off in terms of Eastern time, which is early enough, right? It's not super early. He's not there at -3. At -5, he still gets a favorable enough tee time for me. And like I mentioned, there's pretty much no wind throughout the entire day. So no matter when you're teeing off, you're going to have pristine conditions to go out there and go and score. And somebody who, with the ball striking stats we've seen over the first 2 rounds, I'm very comfortable in getting there. And now let's talk about the LIV Tour. So we'll go over to the board. We'll talk about the golf course a little bit before we talk about the one pick we're getting to here in the video. The golf course is super long, but you saw plenty of the shorter players eat it up. That would be Patrick Reed. Guys like Henrik Stenson shot 6 and 7 under par, made a bunch of birdies on the day. A bunch of other players towards the top were bombers, like a Dustin Johnson played particularly well. Same thing with Brooks Koepka, but a majority of them were relatively short players. So I don't think there's anyone's skill set you need to target at this golf course. You should just base it more on total pedigree. Who's the best player in the field? And frankly, after round 1, it seems like there's quite a bit of overreactions. And just to give you an idea of one of the ones that I see here would be a Henrik Stenson, who's down at 70 strokes now, which is among the elite of the field. You'll see Patrick Reed's at 70. And I mean, just to give you an idea, right, he's half a stroke behind guys like a DJ Bryson and Brooks Koepka, right, which obviously in that type of context, it kind of gives you an idea of why I'm trying to make the fade here, particularly when you consider how bad of form he's been in outside of this event. I mean, just missed cut after missed cut. Ball striking hasn't been all that terrible, but the putter has not been there. And it's a par 71, so it's not like, he has all that much leeway. He needs to shoot even par or worse here, but kind of like a Siwoo Kim, right? There's just so much push potential here where, we're only getting burned on this prop right around like 31% of the time per my calculations. So I like the fact that 69% of the time we're at least pushing here, if not hitting the over. So I know he had a solid round 1, obviously looked pretty solid doing so, hit a bunch of greens and whatnot. Just, I'm not sure it's going to hold up, right? From the longer term sample size, has not been that guy. So those are the 3 props we're going to talk about. Of course, guys, if you're looking for access to everything I have to offer, all 12 props I'm taking here for Saturday, you'll have to go ahead and check out my Patreon. There is a link down in the description of this video. It is $10 a month, and I would highly recommend you join because you get access to not only my prize pick stuff, but also the Draftkings projections I'm doing, also the community Discord server that I run, which is absolutely fantastic. A lot of bright minds down there to bounce ideas off of, people that do MLB stuff, MMA stuff down there that are always willing to give their insight and ideas on. You can just spitball whatever you guys are thinking of down there. It's a good time. So a link is down below. You can check it out if you're looking to join that. But outside of that, just general thoughts. Birdie or Better board, quite a few guys that I like getting to, particularly some of the guys at 3.5. Now there's no AM PM split when it comes to this, so we're just trying to target guys that are high birdie percentage players and are aggressive enough to get to the 4-5 birdie mark that they need to get to. In terms of strokes, there's actually a few more fades I like. Now I'm not going to point any out. You'll have to check out my Patreon to get that exact number, but a few other older players that I just don't see going out there and shooting under par tomorrow, because even with how soft the golf course was, it wasn't really all that difficult. You still had plenty of guys over par and solid players, like a Taylor Gooch, for example. Plenty of the top 5 to top 10. Louis Oosthuizen, for example, was well over par. So no one out there is immune to shooting a big number. From the PGA side, right, we talked about some of the Birdie or Better, some of the fairway props and whatnot that we were getting to. Oh, they took them all off the board. Never mind. So we can't go through them. I guess I'll talk about it in general. Obviously, with Birdie or Better, we're trying to get to guys that are teeing off in the morning, right? They're a little bit lower on the board. Those would be most of my targets. And for strokes, we're really trying to take guys that maybe are fades playing in the PM. In general, I'd much rather play the birdie board. It's just a little bit of a crapshoot when you're going over the strokes. There's always that one blow pull that could really hold somebody back. In terms of birdie or better matchup, that's never my favorite on either board, so that's going to be a fade for me. Just a few select guys that I'm taking in each category. And look, the board came up right in front of our eyes. Look at that. With greens regulation, there's a few select players that I like getting to. A few that actually already got bumped. It's all on an individual basis, right? It's all about their actual, shots gained approach numbers and all of that. The guys that are better shots gained approach guys, the guys that I'm willing to take the overs on, right? And in terms of fairways hit, the guys that are higher fairway percentage players that are towards the bottom of the board, like Gsluke, are also the guys that I'm giving a lot of attention. But with all that being said, wanted to give you my full thoughts. That is all I've got here for Saturday, guys. As per usual, I appreciate all the support. If you guys could go ahead and smash that like button before hopping on out of here, that would do a huge favor for the channel. It would be great for getting this out there to more people, pumping up the algorithm and all of that, which I appreciate greatly. And as per usual, also going to have a video for round 4. So for round 3 at LIV, round 4 at the Rocket Mortgage, expect a video tomorrow night covering a similar topic. Hopefully we go 3-0 with these picks rather than 2-1 yesterday. It's a bummer when you're close. Obviously, the one guy that didn't hit for us today was a close call on that. So obviously, hoping to get a little bit of a bounce back this time around, and I'll give you guys that clean sweep. But that's all I've got. Like I said, best of luck. Let's go ahead and get this cash here for Saturday.